Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I'm late. I'm flawed in my timeliness today. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What you're getting here with this show is my perspective. I've been a Christian my entire life. I'm a non-denominational Protestant. I've been one, like I said, my whole life, 39 years. Um, just going to give you my takes, opinions, and thoughts on Christianity as a whole. God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, different subject matters that arise within everyday life and within and without the church, and just giving my Christian take on things. So if you're looking for some sort of insight or point of reference when seeking out Jesus, if you're looking to start a relationship with Him, by all means use this program as a jumping off point. Use it as a very amateur primer to what Christianity is all about. Because if you go into a church, there's a very good chance you might run into somebody like me, and hopefully you come away thinking that's a good thing, but you might not. But by all means, tune in, be part of the chat, and let us know how what we're going over, which is oftentimes and especially recently, uh, the Bible walkthrough, um, and let us know how this is impacting you. If you are already a Christian and you just like tuning in for Christian conversation and commentary, welcome to the program. I also highly encourage you to take part in our chat. The way we kind of run this is um, much like a small group, Sunday school group, Wednesday night group, whatever you want to call it, and everybody's kind of giving their thoughts and input on things. The chat is definitely a place to be a part of if you want to make your opinions heard, or you could just listen. Doesn't matter. But if you like what is being what is going on here, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tune in. Hit the notification so you know we're around. We're pretty much every weeknight here around 8 o'clock ish, and and that's where you'll find us. So, by all means, please continue to stop by and be part of our group. So, good evening, Nico. Definitely, and calling me on my lateness, tardiness, whatever you want to call it. Nernaeth is in here. Welcome. I typically would tell people not to jump. Well, I will tell them to jump. Look, jump out the boat. If you're Jonah, jump out the boat if you see Jesus and see if you can walk on the water with him. Jump. Don't jump if Satan is tempting you in the desert or in the wilderness, because we know that's wrong. Everybody's favorite um, bishop or clergyman, whatever, on Twitter that we were talking about last week was at it again today. I'm I'm pretty much at the point where I don't think he should be I don't think he should be allowed around kids. I was talking about how um, we need to affirm things that are not biblical, contrary to scripture, and I just hate it when that goes on. Hate it when that goes on. Nernaeth, we finished up the account of Samson last night, and I liked where that story uh, wound up in our discussion, what it was all about, and how that applies to us. The uniqueness of Samson, born with many blessings and squandering them, coming down to nothing and then coming back, as opposed to being most people that we talk about in the Bible, coming from humble origins, being blessed as a result, oftentimes stumbling, but oftentimes also redeeming themselves. So, look, the reason I'm late is because at 5 minutes till, um, everybody decided that it was time to come and talk to me about all the things, and so it was difficult for me to get everything up and running in time And then right before I turn it on, my son comes up. I need to get my Switch. I was like, okay, close the door behind you. Guess what he didn't do? Didn't close the door behind him. So I apologize if you hear anything. You probably won't. If you do hear anything uh, in the background, which is somebody fumbling around in the kitchen or something, but it is what it is. Nernaeth on Samson. It sounds like it brought down the house. It did. Oh, it slayed him. It slayed him, Nernaeth. Women, though, am I right? Daggone Delilah. But like I said, really, it's we give so much grief to Delilah, but Delilah's doing what enemies do, right? She's the opposition. She's spying. Samson is a rare case of not an underdog. Yeah, very much so. Very much so a case of not the underdog. And again, I thought that was good job. Oh, we got Samson punts, and they're all great. A real pillar of the community, wasn't he? Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to think of some more. So anyway, but yeah, I mean it's and now so we're wrapping up. We're on the downslope of judges now, and so now we're going to get into some kind of the oddity parts of judges. I think. I mean, Samson's really the high note. Samson seems to be the climax when it comes to the judges, and we don't really see much more like him in the book, if I remember correctly. But let's find out. Um, Thursday. I will not be streaming either. That was that's the date I told you I didn't have yet, where I was going to be out and about um, with a buddy. So that's we decided we're going to do Thursday evening, and there you go. So tomorrow probably will be streaming. We're gonna have another buddy of mine come over and look at the AC unit. Um, I'm going to get a mini split in this room because I'm tired of the ancient and very underpowered um, window unit that I have up here that has just been trying with all of its might, to the point where I think it's actually having surges going on in it, because it's a couple of times when the compressor is turned on, it's pushed the circuit breaker off, and this room pushes a lot of power. So I actually had to recently, earlier this year, have a electrician come over, and we had to upgrade the panel box. So I guess I'm gonna have to run a whole new electrical line from the outside to the panel box. I'm not an electrician, mechanic by trade, and some electricity I can deal with, but it easily stumps me. I don't like things that there's general rules of electricity, but electricity does weird things and finds little loopholes to escape. It's like water, right? You give it any place to escape from, and it will. I don't like that. Doesn't make sense in my head, so I get easily frustrated. My dad, on the other hand, great electrician. Maybe my son will inherit some understanding. Will a wild Eric appear? Not tonight, but we are in talks about getting a stream together to talk about dinosaurs. I don't know about you guys. Dinosaurs are cool. I love dinosaurs. Ever since I was first introduced to them, big, giant lizards, as I understood them when I was a kid. But apparently It's a 6-foot turkey, like I said in Jurassic Park, which is still one of my favorite movies because it's giant dinosaurs eating people. But we're gonna get on. We're gonna talk about where dinosaurs fit in to the Bible, or in maybe an old Earth, or I'm sorry, a young Earth outlook on the Bible. Because I had that from actually another friend of mine who does occasionally tune in. He's got a young son who is infatuated with dinosaurs, I believe, right now. But he was wondering, where do they fit in? Um, Nate, I like working electric, hate the plumbing. Oh, plumbing electric, that I'm a little bit easier on, but yeah, the tangling, running but seeing a nice crisp wiring harness, all either um in the plastic plastic tubing, or with wire ties, all nice and neat, wrapped up. Oh, it's relaxing to see. But when they're all tangled up, yeah, or if I'm getting them tangled up, I hate it. I hate it. Have you seen the gay dinosaur extinction theory? I think I have. I think it's been a while, but I think I have. I just can't remember much of it. I might have to look it up afterwards, after the stream, to refresh myself on it. I've been watching The Prehistoric Planet. It's pretty good. The only thing, it's on Apple Plus, and obviously I don't want it on Apple Plus. Yeah, there's too much stuff, right? That everybody, and I still have cable, and a much against my better judgment, but we still have it because try teaching streaming services to the elderly. Yes, DM it to me, and I will watch it. um, the but try teaching the streaming services and navigating that on a smart TV to an elderly person. They don't want to deal with it. One of them doesn't even have a smartphone, has no interest in getting a smartphone, and there you have it. So cable box, they've had cable most of their most of their adult life. They know how to use the cable box for the most part. It's easy, it's familiar. Let them roll with it, and there you have it. Got a Hulu account, Netflix. Um, what else do I have that's streaming? A couple of other things. But Nika, there's one that was on. It was in the Smithsonian, and because I have it on VHS. That's how old it is. No, the VHS or DVD? Might be DVD. Walking with Dinosaurs. Um, it's an old BBC. It's an older, like 2000s, early 2000s. Walking with Dinosaurs. It's computer animated, and they try to treat it like a Richard Attenborough um nature thing. Dude, I love nature shows. Love nature shows. Love seeing animals in the natural habitat. Look, I grew up in the country. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing nature. That doesn't mean I won't pollute the planet ad nauseum. Um, Prehistoric Planet is basically Walking with Dinosaurs, but they're better. And you said it's on Apple Plus. Man, it ticks me off. I am trying. I do know this person, except. All right. Yes, I am. I'm going to show this picture. Oh man. Um no, I don't want to pirate it. I don't want to pirate it. I'll get it legitimately. I have a pin. Yeah. Let me share it real quick. All right. Presenting the gay dinosaur theory. The homosexuality kill off the dinosaurs. In the Bible, dinosaurs are serpents and behemoths who did not submit to God's grace. The serpent is a symbol of sexual deviancy and Satanism, particularly radical homosexuality. Have you seen a reversing T-Rex? Where is T-Rex? This would probably be very uncomfortable for him right now. He could say, no, this is an Allosaurus. Reproduction is impossible through homosexual sex acts. Many homosexuals, here's where it really goes off the rails. Many homosexuals, including John Wayne Gacy, have been serial killers. Not untrue, though. Much like today's serial killer homosexuals, dinosaurs lived a life of violence and sodomy. Fueled by Satanism, violence, and sodomy, dinosaurs had little chance to survive as a species. They weren't a species. It was multiple species. Multiple species. That's hilarious. Yes. No, Nico, no, that's not. They're not gay because it's not missionary. They're gay because the plumbing doesn't match up. Based evolution. Indeed. Makes me think of The Land Before Time very differently now. And the tree star must be a symbol of, hey, wait, the water in the tree star. If any of y'all are keeping up with me, the water in the tree stars forms a pentagon. It's all starting to come together. One of these days, I need to put together my my Mickey Mouse Clubhouse theory about how that is a degenerate society, and all the main characters are terrible human beings. And now the cats are up here because the door was left open. All right, so all right, we're 15 minutes in, almost 20 minutes in. Let's get down to business and share new stuff. New stuff, which is old stuff, which you already know. So what's next for the Israelites? We're going to talk about something that is evil done in the sight of the Lord, but it's not going to start off that way. So, chapter 17, Micah's idols. Now, a man named Micah from the hill country of Ephraim said to his mother, the 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from you, and about which I heard you utter a curse, I have that silver with me. I took it. He stole 1,100 shekels of silver and then tells her he took it. Then his mother said, the Lord bless you, my son. When he returned the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother, she said, I solemnly consecrate my silver to the Lord for my son to make an image overlaid with silver. I will give it back to you. Interesting. So after he returned the silver to his mother, she took 200 shekels of silver and gave them to a silversmith who used them to make an idol. Used them to make the idol. And it was put in Micah's house. Okay. So he returned. She's consecrating the silver to the Lord, and she wants her son to make an image overlaid with silver. Okay, so an idol of the Lord, I'm assuming. I will give it back to you. So after he returned the silver to his mother, she took 200 shekels of silver and then gave them to a silversmith. Okay, so that's All right, so she makes the idol and puts it in Micah's house. Now, this man Micah had a shrine, and he had made an ephod and some household gods and installed one of his sons as his priest. In those days, Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit. Quick! Somebody call Nick Rekieta. In those days, Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit. The man was born in the wrong time. Somebody send out Judges 17:6 to him. A young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, who had been living within the clan of Judah, left that town in search of some other place to stay. On his way, he came to Micah's house in the hill country of Ephraim. Micah asked him, "Where are you from?" "I'm a Levite from Bethlehem in Judah," he said. "I'm looking for a place to stay." Interesting. Then Micah said to him, "Live with me and be my father and priest, and I'll give you 10 shekels of silver a year, your clothes and your food." So the Levite agreed to live with him, and the young man became like one of his sons to him. Then Micah installed the Levite, and the young man became his priest and lived in his house. And Micah said, "Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, since this Levite has become my priest." I am utterly at a loss about all this. It sounds like he's not doing the right thing and then thinking that he did the right thing because a Levite came to his house to live. But it doesn't say God sent any of that. God has done nothing in here. Nothing in here. It is just things happening. And questionable thing. Some household gods. We know our 10 commandments, folks. Installed one of his sons as his priest. Did he have a Levite? Everyone did as they saw fit. This is interesting. In those days, Israel had no king, and everyone did as they saw fit. They did to a degree. But you were still falling under Mosaic law. It's very weird. Or Levitical law. Whatever you want to call it. The Danites settled in Laish. In those days, Israel had no king. Bing, bing, bing. And in those days, the tribe of the Danites was seeking a place of their own where they might settle. Nernath, is this the Haldersoning chapter? I think it is. We'll see. The Danites in those days, the tribe of the Danites was seeking a place of their own where they might settle because they had not yet come into an inheritance among the tribes of Israel. Okay, so this is an oddity right here. So we're kind of out of the timeline. So this is still during Joshua's during Joshua's reign. So the Danites sent 5 of their leading men from Zorah and Eshtaol to spy out the land and explore it. These men represented all the Danites. They told them, "Go, explore the land." So they entered the hill country of Ephraim and came to the house of Micah, where they spent the night. Here's Micah again. When they were near Micah's house, they recognized the voice of the young Levite. So they turned in there and asked him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? Why are you here?" He told them what Micah had done for him and said, "He has hired me. I am his priest." Then they said to him, "Please inquire of God to learn whether our journey will be successful." Might not be the right place. The priest answered them, "Go in peace. Your journey has the Lord's approval." Again, look at what we're saying here. Look at what we're seeing here. Lord has done nothing in this point. We're a chapter and a half in, still hasn't done a set of daggone thing. No, it's not. I think I'll miss it. Well, I'm not streaming Thursday or Friday, and I'm working on going over an article Hans Feeney wrote in the Federalist about the Christianity and the student loan forgiveness that I thought was really well put. So whenever you tell me the next time you're going to tune it, you're going to be able to tune in, you think, and I'll try to schedule it if you think you know where it is. So, all right. So the priest has answered them, go in peace. Your journey has the Lord's approval. Look, what did he do? Just turn around and then turn back around and be like, yeah, God told me it's okay. So the 5 men left and came to Laish, where they saw that the people were living in safety, like the Sidonians, at peace and secure, and their land lacked nothing. They were prosperous. Also, they lived a long way from the Sidonians and had no relationship with anyone else. When they returned to Zorah and Eshtal, their fellow Danites asked them, how did you find things? They answered, come on, let's attack them. We have seen the land, and it is very good. Aren't you going to do something? Don't hesitate to go over there and take it over. When you get there, you will find an unsuspecting people and a spacious land that God has put in your hands, a land that lacks nothing, whatever. So, scouts come back. Look, these folks, they're not prepared. They've got a really nice plot of land. Easy pickings. Let's do it now. Then 600 men of the Danites, armed for battle, set out from Zorah and Eshtal. On their way, they set up camp near Kiriath Jearim in Judah. This is the place west of Kiriath Jearim. This is why the place west of Kiriath Jearim is called Mahana Dan to this day. From there, they went on to the hill country of Ephraim and came to Micah's house. Then the 5 men who had spied out the land of Laish said to their fellow Danites, do you know that one of these houses has an ephod, some household gods, and an image overlaid with silver? Now you know what to do. Okay. So they turned in there and went to the house of the young Levite at Micah's place and greeted him. The 600 Danites, armed for battle, stood at the entrance of the gate. The 5 men who had spied out the land went inside and took the idol, the ephod, and the household gods, while the priest and the 600 armed men stood at the entrance of the gate. When the 5 men went into Micah's house and took the idol, the ephod, and the household gods, the priest said to them, what are you doing? They answered him, be quiet, don't say a word. Come with us and be our father and priest. Isn't it better that you serve a tribe and clan in Israel as priest rather than just one man's household? The priest was very pleased. He took the ephod, the household gods, and the idol and went along with the people. Putting their little children, their livestock, and their possessions in front of them, they turned away and left. Okay, very interesting. I don't know. It sounds to me like the Levites being kind of a mercenary here. I feel like I'm going to be like the Israelites, Nico says. I feel like I'm going to be like the Israelites, godless after 4 days without the word straight. You can always study on this stuff. Some of the stuff that we've read over, you can always kind of do some internet research on it. Where you can look at videos of dinosaurs, which is against the Lord. But the dinosaur videos are cool. Look, and here's the thing. I'm not trying to put anybody else on a pedestal or puff you up or whatever. A lot of people who are good Christians and do study their Bible aren't in the Word as much as we're going at. Some are in the Word more than we go at on the stream, but not everyone. Not everyone. So you're doing all right. I still haven't gotten an answer back on the Lutheran Church. I'll prod him again. So he says he's looking into it. So all right. When they had gone some distance from Micah's house, the men who lived near Micah were called together and overtook the Danites. As they shouted out after them, the Danites turned and said to Micah, what's the matter with you that you called out your men to fight? He replied, you took the gods I made and my priest and went away. What else do I have? How can you ask what's the matter with you? The Danites answered, don't argue with us, or some of the men may get angry and attack you, and you and your family will lose your lives. So the Danites went their way, and Micah, seeing that they were too strong for him, turned around and went back home. Then they took what Micah had made and his priests and went on to Laish against a people at peace and secure. They attacked them with the sword and burned down their city. There was no one to rescue them because they lived a long way from Sidon and had no relationship with anyone else. The city was in a valley near Beth Rehob. The Danites rebuilt the city and settled there. They named it Dan after their ancestor Dan, who was born to Israel. Though the city used to be called Laish, there the Danites set up for themselves the idol, and Jonathan, son of Gershom, son of Moses, and his sons were priests for the tribe of Dan until the time of the captivity of the land. They continued to use the idol Micah had made. All the time the house of God was in Shiloh. This is interesting. What have we not seen in any of this? Intercession by God, any type of involvement from him, and we see highly questionable things in these two quick chapters. The least of which is there's no government. Everybody did what they wanted to do. We have this look. One of the things I like a lot about what God's original setup for Israel was very much these are your rules for your society. They're very brief, very easy to follow. Here's your priests. Here's your punishment for it. Here's your way of atoning, and I've given you priests to and chiefs to basically interpret it or make or enforce it, I guess, or make sure that it's interpreted correctly. Whatever. Other than that, live your life. Live your life. Be good to each other. Can't handle it. This is why we can't have nice things. In this case, the Israelites are the reason that the Israelites can't have nice things. It is a very real thing because the Israelites legitimately make it so that they can't have nice things by their own request. It's hilarious and also deeply unsettling, like many of the things the Israelites do. And there you go. So what we see, nothing from God. He isn't talking in any of these things. We have a man who apparently took money from his mother and then gave it back, and she was so happy to have it back that she says she gave it back to him, gave him silver to make an idol, and he put it in his house. She consecrated it to the Lord, and the idol was supposed to be, I guess, for the Lord, but he also mixed it with household gods. No. Which is why I think we're not seeing any God involvement from God at this point. This is all being done without his permission, without his blessing, without any type of reverence for him at all. And then we have the Danites. They're looking for things. They're looking for a place to settle. They look for a city to settle in. And so as they're coming through, they run into these guys, right? And eventually they end up taking all of his stuff, taking all of his false idols and household gods. And once they establish their city, they put it in their city. How is this going to work out for them? We'll see. Thanks, Nernath. Lots of religion here, not a lot of God. Well put. Well put. I think that's very clear. There's a lot of idol worship here. The only time you really hear God mentions is a couple of times, the mother consecrating it and the money, and the Danites asking the priest, who apparently will work for anybody basically will work for the highest bidder no matter what. They ask him for if their journey has the Lord's approval, which he just says, yeah, sure. You've got plenty of approval. Go out and do whatever it is you're looking at doing. Are you sure that God gave us our approval? Yeah, I'm totally sure. Totally sure. God, beginning to think this Levite's not all the way on the up and up. Might be like our friend the pastor on Twitter. Let's see if I can find him. Let's see. First thing I read, universalism is antichrist and is satanic. Very true. Sounds like the mother and father of Micah had some splaining to do. No, they don't mention his father at all. Maybe he's not even in the picture. She's got the money. That's the interesting thing. Oh, crap. What's that idiot's name? I need to get that permission. Who put it up there? Ugh. One of the things I dislike the most are people who go from. So, are you were blaming single motherhood for the ills of ancient Israeli society? I will always blame the breakdown of the family that God has established and instructed for us for as a major contributor to the decadence of any society or the ruination of a society. It's absolutely true. It's not always on purpose. Some people die. Some people are taken away for some reason. It is what it is. So some people have to get out of a very bad relationship. But that's one of the reasons why God instructs the Israelites and instructs us to look after the orphans and the widows. Because if they can't have what the ideal situation is, a loving mother and father and siblings, they need at least to have the support of the community around them. And we need to love them as much as we love anybody else, because it's easy to cast out the weak and the less fortunate. And when we do that, that reflects poorly on us, and it makes people not believe in our faith, makes them lose faith. I know where you were driving with that, Nernath, but I thought it was a good chance to get on a soapbox for a bit. No, what I was going to say before this is when people who are Christians and move from one Christian belief to another Christian belief, like if you're infant baptism and you move to credo baptism, or if you're if you're just a regular Protestant, if you become a Reformed Protestant, you start becoming a Calvinist, or for whatever reason you move from Catholicism to the Orthodoxy, they can be some of the most annoying people on Twitter because they want to tell everybody what they think, how right they are now. Just shut up with it all the time. It's not it's whatever. It's stupid. It's stupid. Let's see. Really wish I could find this. And then I run across something that's really sad. Come on, find what I want to complain about and not what's going to make me angrier or sadder. Yeah, Nika, I love what you mean. What's not included in the Bible is your opinion. Yeah, that's very true. Based on a brief look at maps, it looks like Dan was given land by the sea, and Laish is in Ephraim country or in Ephraim County. I mean, judging by the size of Israel, we could call them counties by our standards as Americans. Come on. How would it? Oh well. I guess I'm gonna give up on that. If you want an interesting person to follow on Twitter, I haven't started following him yet, but they pull up in my feed so often it doesn't really matter. Smash Idols is some pretty base stuff. It's at Smash Bales, and I've seen some stuff I disagree with sometimes, but for the most part, it's very hard takes. They seem to be taking cities and lands not given to them. I think I remember that. They kind of have. Somebody has. Who is it that has land in the middle of somebody else's territory? I'm trying to remember which one of the Israelite tribes has that. I think I might almost be there. Maybe I'm not. Oh well, I quit. Once I say quit, I was trying to trick Twitter into showing me what I needed to see. All right, I quit for real. All right. Oh, we did have an interesting thing that's popped up. Matt Chandler, Benjamin and Judah. That's what it was. Okay, that's right. I mentioned it back in Genesis, I think. It's mentioned back in Genesis. I don't think you were I don't think you were in the chat back when we were covering Genesis. So there is apparently a megachurch pastor, and I don't know much about him. His name's Matt Chandler. He's been trending on Twitter recently from stepping down. Lead pastor at Village Church, and the church sanctuary, I guess is what you would call it, is a daggone stadium. It's a daggone stadium. It's insanely large. So I don't know how you call it Village Church. It's kind of a see Chandler's he part of no. No, they're not worshiping Sonitude, though there's been a lot of people that I've seen talking about how he has problematic theology. I don't know. So I'm going to be very upfront. I don't know anything about Matt Chandler other than he is a pastor at a very large megachurch, a place that apparently there were somebody came up to him who was the friend of a friend of his that apparently he had been talking, who was a female friend of a female friend of his, he was talking to on Instagram. Red flags popping up. The officials, they said that, I know that you're talking a lot to them, and you're talking a lot to this lady. I don't think that's appropriate. Something along those lines. So, it was taken to the elders, and the official statement from them is what there wasn't any sexual content in the DMs, but the frequency and the familiarity between them was very questionable. Now, apparently, both of the people involved, Matt Chandler and the lady friend, are both married, not to each other, but both spouses of each party knew that they were talking on Instagram, and apparently did not have that much big of a problem with it. But apparently, it was enough to the point, it was so familiar and so frequent that it was they determined that he needed to take a leave of absence, and so he is. And so a lot of people are just so they call it so like Newsweek is calling it an inappropriate online relationship he had with a woman, not his wife. This is very important things. Here, let me just read part of this. What he said, the relationship was not romantic or sexual, but the elders deemed the frequency and familiarity of the direct messages he exchanged with the woman on Instagram unguarded and unwise. What that means, I don't know. Sounds to me like it was really bordering on the line. And if that's the case, to the elders' credit, they took the appropriate action. It's too close. It's too close on the line. No, he was using his own private Instagram to DM this lady. And this kind of sounds like, oh crap, who's the kid up in Michigan that with the Snapchat photo, and he got in trouble for it because somebody else saw it, that it wasn't for him, that it wasn't intended for him. I don't know how this third party knew that this lady and him were redeeming each other. I know that the third party was friends with the lady, so maybe they were discussing things. She's like, "Oh, look at what that said." This is just preponderance. I don't know. But there was a third. His name was Josh Gerhardt. Was it? I don't. Is it Josh Gerhardt? Or maybe I'm thinking of Joshua Moon because I've been seeing a lot of that recently. Who is checking his DMs? No, pastors do have privacy to a degree. I think it was the lack of privacy was on the other lady's end. Let's see if I can. Let me see if I can get this straight. Okay. In the tearful remarks, Chandler said on a Sunday, a woman had approached him in the church foyer a few months ago and confronted him about his messages to one of her friends. Lucas Gerhardt. There you go. Thank you. Chandler said he found the encounter disoriented and informed the church elders. Okay, so she came up to him, and we don't know how she came up to him. She came up to him like a naturally concerned person, because a naturally concerned person is concerned for their church and the church's well-being, not in a troublesome way, but just to say, hey, I know that this is going on. I think it's inappropriate. Oh, thank you, Nernath. I'm not going to put the other thing up because I'm not linking to Newsweek. I'm just not doing that. She could be coming up saying, hey, I know this is going on. I think this is inappropriate. I think you really need to look at it. Or she could have done it in a threatening manner. Hey, I know that you're doing this. I'm talking to the elders about it. We don't know. We don't know any of that. So we can't infer that, right? We know that he was confronted with it by a third party that knew about it. So nobody was checking his DMs. The breach of confidentiality, I guess, was on the lady's end. So, if he went as he said, he informed the other church elders. So in this case, it's kind of like my church. The pastor is also an elder, sits on the elder board. So the church elders they commissioned an independent law firm to review his messaging history across his social media accounts, email, and cell phone. So this is when he lost all of his social media privacy, but he's surrendering his privacy to the eldership. Now, here's another point of criticism here that a lot of people are in Christian circles are leveling at this, that they also leveled at the SBC, the Southern Baptist Commission, when they were going through their independent review or whatever. They brought in an independent law firm without it. It was not a faith-based law firm. It was not a Christian law firm. So you have a law firm that doesn't have a basis or a mission in doing things the way God tells us to do it, or necessarily an understanding of how it should work. They're bringing in a secular group that might have ulterior motives. You never know who's looking at it. So they reviewed all the documents. So church elders decided that Chandler's actions violated the church's social media policy and biblical standards of being above reproach. They did not disqualify him from leadership, but decided he should take a disciplinary and developmental leave of absence. Okay. Sounds like it was borderline, right? erring on the side of caution. Again, this is taking everybody at their word, okay? Because Chandler's not disputing things. There's no real argument over what happened. So, it's just like, hey, and temptation can be a difficult thing. I guess I've not in my immediate family, but in the very close peripheral of my family, there has been a lot of infidelity, specifically on one of my parents' side. There's been a lot of infidelity, and much of it caused by in all of the instances that I can think of, one of my family members was the one at fault. These are people I've known since I was a child, and it's difficult to think of somebody as doing the wrong thing, and it's different when people get caught up in that. I take that back. Not in every single case. In many of the cases, I just thought of one that was not. It's difficult to think that somebody that love, respect, whatever, can fall into these issues. But a lot of times, again, we talk about how did the Israelites fall in and just do evil in the Lord? They didn't just wake up and say, "Oh, I'm going to do this." Baby steps, the slippery slopes. It's all innocent now, and then it becomes not so innocent. So it sounded like this might have been bordering on the line between innocent and not so innocent, or maybe it already drifted into it. Don't know. But whatever it was, they decided, look, this isn't so scandalous that we're kicking him out of the church, and we're not so scandalous that we're firing him as our pastor, but it is enough that he's going to take a leave of absence. And sometimes you need that break. If you are slipping, which all of us do, if you're slipping, sometimes you need to be like, look, I'm not in the right place to be up here. I can't represent up here right now. I need to be away until I can center myself again to be up there. So, nobody's coming out of the woodwork to say, that's involved in this, to say, no, it's much worse. They're lying. They're trying to cover it up. And so that it's easy for us to take pot shots at mega churches, at people who are woke, because John Smoth chimed in. John Smoth always comes in just randomly, like he's listening, like he's hovering in there, and he's like, I just stay quiet on most things, and then boop, I'll leave a comment right there. And it's this one, like the other ones, has been pretty helpful. Said Matt used to be cool, but he's pretty woke now, as happens to a lot of folks. So let me go through these real quick and see if we can get. I don't get it. He's using church Instagram or his own private Instagram. We answered that. It's his personal Instagram. How did they even find out? We know that pastors do have privacy, but once you submit your privacy to the elders, it's be like, look, I'm just laying it all out here on the table. Check through my stuff. If, like I said, if this handled the way it was handled, the way it's being reported, it was handled. This is a good example of what how church leadership should handle things, right? We're looking at something. It's borderline. We're going to take the appropriate actions. We're not going to cover it up. We're going to be open to the congregation, and we're not going to shun the person and excommunicate them. We're going to give them time to take a step back and hopefully come back and be just as good, if not better than ever. Right? And isn't that what Christianity is about? The redemption arc on things. This is how we have to hold ourselves accountable, whether it's an independent church like this or an infrastructure as big as the Catholic Church. We were talking last week about Archbishop Weekland. That scandal was handled all the way on the wrong. In this case, it looks like very much like how you would expect something to happen. So again, if we're taking everyone at their word, and it seems like there's no reason right now to believe that they're not. And, the church is doing some sort of due process. This seems like it's being handled the way it is. Now, everybody's jumping on Matt on social media because, again, there's a lot of people who don't like him. He used to be cool, apparently. And apparently now he's woke. A lot of people on the traditional side of Twitter don't like seeing woke pastors, love to see him get knocked down, and they want him to be shown for the moral depravity that they see in them. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know Matt Chandler. Never heard a sermon from him. Never heard any of his Bible takes. I don't know him. So I'm staying silent on that. But and then on the other side, on the left, the left side of Christian, where you see the fight the patriarchy and the deconstructionists and all the people who are actually kind of more away from Christ generally. They're like, oh nope, it's another example of a man of the patriarchy abusing women in the church. This seems pretty consensual. Oh, there's what do they call them? The power differentials and whatnot. Miss me with all that crap right now. There's none of that's being mentioned in this case. So sounds like they were friends. Seems like they were getting probably a little bit too friendly. And if he was open and honest and went straight to church eldership and submitted himself immediately, there you go. So there we go. Nico, I don't know. Maybe I'm just naive, but without the details of the DMs, it sounds subjective view of a relationship, and I don't see enough evidence to convince me the pastor was doing something so quote unquote wrong. And I think that's kind of the gist of this. It's not necessarily he was doing something wrong, or he was heading on a path to being wrong, and he should have known better, right? It's like when you see your kid getting ready to do the thing that you just told them not to do, but they hadn't done it yet, and you're like, and I think that's kind of why. I think that's why this is the way this is being handled appropriately. Like I said, we didn't see the DMs. Church elders did. You have to put your faith in the church elders that they're going to do the right thing in these cases. This is why. Again, at our place, we elect or at my church, we elect our elders for them to do things. It sounds like a lot like gossip. It's kind of, I think but it's not, because you have the people who are actually involved talking about it. You have the pastor who is accused of it, the elders who have looked at it. They're coming out with an official statement for everybody. I think everything else going on from the Twitter side, and if that's what you were referencing, yes, you're right. It sounds a lot like gossip. I'm using this as an example because when I read it and I saw what happened as a completely outside figure, not knowing anybody involved, I said, sounds like they did the right thing. Being cautious, which you should be. You should always err on the side of caution when it comes to God's law. You don't want to be, playing fast and loose with the Bible. That doesn't usually end well. So, and I don't know. I found out that it is often blown out of proportion with stuff like this. Sometimes it's usually one of the two, Nernath. It's either completely blown out of proportion or it's completely covered up. That's just the way it seems. Now, I'm sure that there's maybe that's the only ones that make the news, but that's how it always seems when you hear about it. And then Nernath, if it is kept hush hush, usually it's not much. If it is totally egregious, blow them up about it. Yeah. So, and I'm kind of right there about it, because we're supposed to hold our pastors and we're supposed to hold our elders to a very high standard. What do they say in here that I agree with? Quote unquote, above reproach. Amen. So, yeah. Just saying does not affect me. I don't need to know more about this. Sounds like airing a stranger's dirty laundry. Yeah. As I said, I saw it. It's been running around, and like you said, it's kind of gossipy. But I also think that it's a good example, without getting into information too much. We should point out when people do, even groups that we might be suspicious of, like me, naturally suspicious of a megachurch, because things a lot of times get swept under the rug. It's good to point to things like these guys did this right? These guys did it right. We have to have good examples of doing the right thing to point to, as opposed to just pointing at the bad things. So, but yeah, mind our own business more. But and this is one of the things. You're on the national stage. I mean, where's the picture? Not the picture of him. This is just a picture of the. Why are they doing this? No. No. I don't. There it is. That's what I wanted to see. Oh, never mind. All right, take it all back. Newsweek's stupid as heck. It was a picture. I thought it was a stadium. When I blew it up, what do I see? It's a picture of daggone Joel Osteen. Get off of Osteen. It's stupid Newsweek. If it's a big church, so the whole thing I said about Village Church is it's silly. It is supposed to be a sizable church. But man, talk about misrepresenting. And this is kind of what why what Nernath says when it gets out into the public sphere and becomes gossipy. This is why gossip is a bad thing. Because what is Newsweek? Newsweek does not have Christianity's best interest involved. What do they got? They like clicks, and they've got a bunch of weird a bunch of weird weirdos working there, oftentimes who hate Christianity. So, you hear about this and you see this, oh, look at all the people at this church. It's not that church. And if it's a big enough church, it should be pretty easy. All you got to do is go on their social media to find a picture of them. Most of us aren't shy about the size of our church. If you can go onto my church's live stream and see how small our church is, because you normally have the backdrop of from the pulpit or the stage or wherever we're streaming from, and see the pews sitting past it. But they don't take the effort. It's lazy. It's stupid, and don't trust your journalists. Don't trust journalists just because of that. I mean, I feel a little stupid about it, because I made some comments because I was looking at the pictures, and then when Joel Osteen, it's always Joel Osteen and Kenneth Copeland and Creflo Dollar and all the other Jimmy Swaggart, bunch of charlatans, a lot of them false teachers. I'm so sick of it. Buy my book. Don't you stop tithing. Send me money. Money. I'm sick of it. That's a different rant. I'm not going to get into that rant. So, but yeah, like I said, I've talked about churches, and we talk a lot about how churches do the wrong thing. Church did the right thing, I think. If everything that they're saying is their word, and there's nothing to say, there's nothing that's been brought up to say that they're not. So everything they've been open about, say, all we need to look at it and be like, okay, they've said this, they've been honest, they've seemingly been honest with their congregation, and they're taking the right steps. That's good. That's good. God bless them if that's the case. So stop being woke. Stop teaching this dumb crap on the pulpit. I'll get Eric on here. I promise. So anyway, all right. So tomorrow night we'll be streaming. Hopefully, I'll have gotten the blessing to talk about the student loan program and all the chirping about how it's a Christian thing to do, and reading and breaking down Hans Feeney, pastor, the Reverend Hans Feeney, his article in the Federalist, which I thought was really good. And it is very much written in the prose that you see if you go on to Lutheran satire, and the way he breaks down the logic of the Bible, which I love. Anyway, all right. So in the meantime, folks, Nernath, Nico, John Smoth, thank you. Dresden. I think that's it. On the chat tonight. Kind of quiet. Look, you get past Samson and nobody cares anymore. Thanks for tuning in, Nico. You guys all have a great, really good night. God bless. Talk to y'all tomorrow.